What an absolute classic between Gold Coast and Hawthorn, in which Gold Coast ran out 8-point winners 16-8 104 to 15-6 96 against Hawthorn. And some players had an absolute, stunning game in terms of fantasy and Supercoach. And yeah, I think that some people, maybe if you look at at least the fantasy ownership per player on each of these sides, I don't think many had any high ownership players. I can even just double check this for you, but I did double check this last night, and I noticed no one was highly owned, I would say. And I will double check this again. But before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. If you are listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a rating over there, and let's jump into this video. So first of all, let's just do the double check that I was going to talk about here with Gold Coast Suns and their ownership. If we go to Coach's Choice, we'll do it. And we go to true starting percentage here, or total starts percentage, I think, was it? Percentage of team ownership, etc. John Noble, the highest one for the likes of the Suns at 5%, Noah Anderson at 4%. And then if we do the same thing but for Hawthorn here, you'll see that Dylan Moore at 17%, he did all right. James Sicily had a stinker at 11%, and then Jai Newcomb at 9%. I'm glad that I had him for this game. Not so much the last couple, as he has produced, 190 plus 194. So he has produced 384 whilst in my side, I believe, which puts him at around about that, 96 average for my side. Not the best, not the worst in that respect there. So on to this game and just going through the stats here. Johnny Noble had 36 touches, got over the 1,000 meters gained, which was huge, but his ball use was pathetic. 13 turnovers, 7 clearances, 63% ball use was probably one of the major reasons why Hawthorn were in the game, just because he was basically kicking it long and turning it over half the time. I think if you were to look at his kicking efficiency, he had 27 kicks. I wouldn't be shocked if 10 of them were turnovers. Which, if we just do this here quickly for a second here, and then we go to effective kicks and kicking efficiency. If we go to this here, you will see that John Noble, 21 kicks out of 27 were effective at 77%. Not the best, not the worst, sort of middle ground there. But you can see this here. He didn't have the greatest game if you look at that there. And I think his handballing wasn't the best anyway. So that's him. Noah Anderson, he was electric. 116, 152 splits, 35 touches, 5 tackles, and a goal. 16 contested possessions, 12 clearances at 82% disposal efficiency is kind of crazy. So he was huge for them, and that's one of the reasons why they got over the line, because they just, and even Sam Mitchell said this in his post-game press conference, they couldn't contain the Essendon, the Gold Coast Suns mids. I think the Gold Coast Suns had 29 clearances, their top mids, in that of Rowell, Miller, and also Anderson. Whereas if you look at Hawthorn, 5, 4, 4, 5 again to Mackenzie. They probably only had, if we just do a quick little check here, at the clearances, where are they? They are somewhere over here. You can see the clearances 50 to 35. So the top 3 mids for Gold Coast almost had only about 6 shy in terms of clearances, compared to the likes of the Hawthorn Hawks, and the center clearances were 19 to 10. And if we look here at the center clearances, they had 14 center clearances between them out of Anderson, Miller, and Rowell. So 14 of the 29 clearances were center clearances from them. And that's where the dominance was basically won over Hawthorn. I thought Rowell came back really, really strongly in this game. He was a lot more efficient, as well as just getting back to his contested best there. Toot Miller didn't hit the 100 this week, but 22 disposals, 2 goals is always great. And I don't know if he's going to get forward status or not. Probably not this deep into the year, but we'd have to double check that, because, yeah, he's putting up decent scores. Jared Witts went 112, even with Moyle, though Moyle did get subbed out at 3/4 time, I believe, or just shy of 3/4 time. So he did ruck the last quarter, got himself up to 76% game time, which is almost Even with the Heat, you'd almost say that that's just a common game time for him. So yeah, they were able to basically not tire him out after another game in Darwin, which is pretty good. Closey was pretty good. Daniel Rioli was impactful. Bodie Uland was really, really good. I thought he was a little bit unlucky with some of the free kicks he conceded, but he was really impactful at 95%. Can't wait to see him and his brother doing it at AFL level. Bailey Humphrey, 19 touches, 7 tackles and a goal. The goal was from 50 off 2 steps looking the wrong way. It was one of the most freakish goals, well, one of the best goals I've seen this year. Just the power, the raw power for his sort of size, I would say, is really, really freakish, and he's one of the funnest to watch. Then you've got Humphrey, Collins. Fiorini had 16 touches on his comeback game. He was on 12 or something at halftime. So slowed down. Powell, I thought, was pretty good as well. Very, very efficient. Long. Holman probably kept Hawthorn in the game. A little bit unlucky with some of the stuff he conceded. Joel Jeffrey. Sam Flanders is going to be a very, very interesting prospect next year to look at, because if we look at Flanders for a second here, we look at Gold Coast, we look at Sam Flanders, you will see he is averaging 71 for the year. So he's just going to be very interesting. Obviously should tick over the 10-game threshold, to get to him having this year's average as his average. So could be interesting next year if he gets a position change back to something that's just going to get more fancy impact, because he's a lot more, he's gone from quantity over quality back to quality over quantity. And that's sort of the difference in why he's really lagging behind. Ainsworth, Rose, and then pretty much no one else matters there. Then we go over to Hawthorn and Jai Newcomb. I actually almost, and Corey will be able to confirm this, I almost at quarter time put out a Twitter post about Jai Newcomb being like, oh, this guy is an absolute on the radar for being just not a really good pick at all. He probably still isn't a good pick even after this big game, but still, he was on 18 at quarter time, and I just went, oh, that's not good. And then first clearance out of the first 2 minutes or 3 minutes in the second quarter, he scores 18 to 20 points. And I don't know which one it would be on, but yeah, he just went mad in the first couple minutes of the second quarter. I think his second quarter in the end was a 48 pointer, might have been 52 though. I need to just double check that, because he did have, I think, a tackle added at halftime. So let me just double check with Newcomb here. His second quarter was a 51 pointer after a 19 point first quarter. His third quarter 24, and his last quarter 29. So if he didn't give away the free kick in the end of the first and got a kick away, I think it might have been holding the ball, then that means that he ends up on a 1-2-9 and looks absolutely fantastic, but he never really would have had the worries, as he would have gone 25, 51, 24, 29. So yeah, he was just back to his his non-disposal best, and also kicked a goal, which was a little bit of a cheap free kick. It felt like he got away with a couple of cheap free kicks. Probably has a fine coming his way for staging as well, for that secondary free kick on in the start of the second. But anyway, I don't think he gets suspended for it. I don't think you can get suspended for it. And so yeah, it'll be a slap on the wrist for him, and he'll play next week. Ginnivan Karl-Amon, I thought was all right. 30 touches for him. Dylan Moore, 87.69. Feels like he's just getting really cheap, does Dylan Moore. If we go back to here and we go more here, we'll see this, and you'll see he is priced at 695 with a 91 break even. That's going to probably start to come down. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like he's impacting games well enough. And so that'll be interesting to see how that phases out, as he could be really, really cheap if he does start to turn it around. Harry Mosrum, Ward, I thought was outstanding for a youngster. I thought this was sort of not a breakout game per se, but sort of I'm at the level. Well, I guess that is a breakout game, but he definitely has shown that he's at the level for AFL footy. 23 touches at 73%. And then Warple just looked like he's already almost just out of it for Hawthorn. It feels like he's just not in their best. And with Will Day out for a large time, it's going to be really hard for them to really, I think, impact in the upper echelons of the ladder. And I feel like they fall down to sort of that 5th to 8th region in the end of it. Reeves, he's straight out from Meek next week. Sicily, he's really going to be cheap next year. I just don't know if you can do it if he's got this utility swinging role week in, week out. I just don't know if you can go there. and then no one else really. And then this is why you don't go for CJ and other guys like this that are sort of non-role change spike scores in the middle of the season, because they have games like this where they return back to their normal, I would say, in a way. And this has basically meant that he's an automatic trade out. And so I'm glad that I didn't go there in the end with him. But anyway, that is the video there going through the Gold Coast Suns versus Hawthorn Hawks game. And I will see you guys back again for another video going through my tips, as we will also look at this game as well. And we'll say that I did get this game right in terms of the tip. I was 17 points off, which I'm pretty happy about. But yeah, pretty happy about this game. Comment below which players you have had or you had playing in this game on both Fantasy and Super Coach. And I will see you guys back here later for the tipping video. Bye, guys.